Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have another one of the Danger Packs from Mattel, another Epic Evolution from the very first wave of Epic Evolution Danger Packs. This time, we've got the Avaceratops, and this was one that I was actually really quite looking forward to. I thought the sculpt looked pretty cool, pretty darn nice looking paint apps, and in person, I can say it looks really nice. You can see the packaging though. Again, it's your standard, no real big difference between this and the packaging that we've seen leading up to this point. Same deal here for the back. The only one we have left to review would be the Plesiosaurus, because everything else is already up on the channel. So, no need to waste time. Let's pop this out of the box and check it out. And here is our Avaceratops, and my camera is not at all positioned in a good spot. There we go. We can get a little bit of a better look at it there. And, wow, that is really quite nice. I love the, look of this one. The skin texture has a very rough and rugged kind of it almost makes me feel like this is sort of like a ceratopsian that would be living in like a mountain range somewhere, so it's got really rough and rugged skin texture, maybe even kind of like a cold climate, and that would be the reason why we have this sort of, you know, white face on it and everything. I think it's a really neat coloration for it, and again, a very nice looking sculpt, very unique look overall for an Avaceratops. So let's go ahead and jump to a closer look, and we'll check it out from there. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Avaceratops, you can see it looks really nice. Straight off the bat, the skin texture looks gorgeous. It's, you know, a Mattel figure. You always have very nice, very highly detailed sculpts, and you can, without question, see that here moving through the course of the face. You have very vibrant scale detail and a lot of variation to the scale detail. You can also see we've got the nostrils sculpted very nicely. The beak is painted with a gray and also sports a very nice sort of a satin shine. And as we kind of let the light hit it, you can see like the cracks and crevices in the beak, adding some nice bits of realism. As you move up into the eye, you can see the eyes painted with an orange. We don't have a black pupil, we have a dark gray pupil, because that's the coloration that runs up there into the face, but I think it looks pretty nice. You can see we've got the horns painted out again with the same gray that we see on the beak up here. They as well have a nice shine to them, and you can also see those as well have some nice cracks and crevices within them. I really like the coloration here in the face. I love how this dark gray kind of runs up and stripes and borders around the eye, sort of rings around the eye, and we keep having this light tone all over the place. It really helps because we have that dark gray lead up, and it definitely helps to make that orange eye pop very nicely. Beautiful coloration on the part of Mattel to give to this figure. But as you move up into the frill, you can see tons of variation to the scales. Up here you've got very large scales, smaller scales, even a very different look to the scaling kind of running around the outer edge of the frill. And I love that the dark gray kind of creeps in a few spots. Very nice, very natural application of the paint. You can see if we take a look up here from the top, it's basically all this sort of like light gray or a white that we have going on up here. But again, you can really see how nice all of that skin texture and scale detail pops. This would definitely be a nice one for a repaint. And you can see the same thing again over here. No real difference that you're really going to see over here. We do have some nice neck articulation. The neck can go down, and the neck can actually go up really quite high. There's no swivel or anything like that to it, but it does work really smoothly. As you lead down here into the throat, you can see the throat itself is very nicely sculpted out. You have a little extra plastic or something right there, but outside of that, it looks pretty nice. As we lead up here to the back of the neck, it's actually hard to get back there behind the frill, but you can see it does look pretty good as far as that scale detail goes. If my camera would focus on it, it's a little hard to get in there. But as you move up here into the, you know, upper part of the back, as you lead up from the shoulders, you start to see some white kind of like striping and patterning through. It would have been nice to actually have it right there in the joint where the neck moves, but as you can see, it is not there at all. No matter where I move it to, you don't see the white show up. Sometimes they do that, you know, they put the coloration over that, and then you just have to kind of move it into the right spot to match it up. This time we didn't get any of it. But as you lead over here to the side, you can see that we have a very nice, again, sort of like a striping effect as you move down, kind of a splotchiness to it, but it looks pretty cool. As you move down through the course of the body, though, you continue to see how impressive that skin texture looks. You've got very large sort of osteoderm, very almost armored type of scales up here. The further up into the body you get, it is a little hard to really, you know, make out and appreciate the type of skin texture that we have going on up here in the back, but it definitely looks like very large sort of scales. And then as you move down into the leg, you can see some more clusters of larger scales. Again, finer scaling around that area. You've got the elbow sculpted out. Really nice looking foot sculpt. The nails have a bit of a shine to them, which you can see right there. As you lead back up into the stomach, again, everything looks really nice. As you lead back here, you can see that white coloration disappears as we lead past the hip region. Again, kind of big, rough and rugged scaling moving down. You can also make out the muscle definition there in the thigh as well as the calf. As you lead down into the rear foot sculpt, again, the toes are all sculpted out. And we again have the nails not really painted, but given again a little bit of a shine to sort of differentiate them. And then you lead up here into the tail, and as you lead out, again, there's just tons of variation to the scales that you see here. But as you lead out into the tail, they definitely get a lot finer, a lot smaller moving out, even though they stay kind of larger on the upper side of the tail. When you look at it from up above, you can also see a nice sort of a bend and curve to the tail. We do have a swivel tail. There we go. It was a little bit stiff, but I could definitely tell that there was a swivel there. And then you also have the articulation in the legs, forward and back. Same deal for the rear legs. They don't come out away from the body or anything, but they usually don't when it comes to, attack packs and danger packs and stuff. When you look at it from the other side, again, no real big differences. The patterning doesn't really change much. The overall appearance doesn't change that much because of the positioning of the body. You can see that this leg maybe it should be looking like that. So not too much of a difference. The legs are just a little bit further spread apart on this side, so you're not going to notice much of a difference anyway. And then we, of course, have the Fax app code here if you would like to add this one to your collection. There you go. But again, that area is still an eyesore. I really wish they'd go back to putting them on the bottom of the feet, because I just am not a huge fan of this. I get what they're going for, but it's just a little bit of an eyesore when it comes to these figures, especially this one, because you see how it's kind of like got that jagged edge look, and then here it just looks different. At the very least, they maybe should have put some white paint over it or something. Would have maybe helped to kind of hide it a little bit, but it is still a pretty darn nice looking figure, and in my opinion, probably one of the better danger packs that we've had recently. As far as a size goes, for a length, you are looking at about 7 inches, almost on the dot, or around 18 centimeters. And then for a height, and of course you could change this if you put the head up a little higher, but about 3 inches, or just shy of around 8 centimeters, somewhere in that vicinity. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Golovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day Human Being, next to our Avaceratops. And you can see it's pretty much exactly where you would expect it to be size range-wise. I don't feel like we need to do too many comparisons, because normally the ceratopsians in this size range are of a very similar size continuously, and you can definitely see that here with this Avaceratops. Even though a lot of comparisons aren't really necessary this time around, we will still bring in a Mattel Velociraptor just to give you an idea of a size next to that one, and then of course one final comparison, as we have the old battle damage version of the Triceratops next to our Avaceratops, which this shows you that again, they're pretty much in that same similar size range, showing you that if you have any kind of like a strike attack or Savage Strike, Attack Pack, Wild Pack, or even Battle Damage as far as the smaller ones go, sort of Ceratopsian, you're already going to have a pretty good idea of the size of this Avaceratops. So this Mattel Jurassic World Epic Evolution Danger Pack Avaceratops is another very nice figure, which is not surprising at all, because Mattel always does a great job, in my opinion, on their Ceratopsians. I think every single one that they've released so far has been quite the nice looking figure, and this is probably one of my favorites, honestly. I think the sculpt looks great. It really does give me that sort of mountain look, that sort of mountain feel. I didn't pay attention to the box art to see if that's where they actually had this one kind of placed, but I feel like that's probably where it should be if it's not. And after actually going and taking a second to go look at the box art, that's exactly where they have this kind of, placed up in the mountain area, and that's definitely where I would expect to see this, because it really does have that sort of a look, especially just with the general appearance of the skin texture. Has that kind of rough and rugged look to it, and of course you combine that with the coloration, and it just really gives you that sort of like Ceratopsian living in a snowy setting kind of a look. But I think they did a very good job, especially when it comes to the fine detail. There is a ton of variation to the skin texture and scale detail moving through. It's really quite impressive to see in person. And honestly, even though the older Mattel figures were very nice, it's very impressive just to look at these to see how much Mattel has improved over the years, especially when it comes to applying skin texture and difference within the skin texture. This is a very nice prime example of how good they are at doing that. But on top of the impressive sculpt, we also have really nice paint apps for this one. I think, of course, a little more paint running out onto the tail could have been nice, and painted nails, but those are just, the same nitpicks we almost always have. Even still, I really think the paint apps of this one look good, especially in the face. The face is honestly one of the nicest painted faces of any Mattel figure I've ever seen. And everything looks so smooth and natural. Definitely a fan of the overall appearance and coloration of this figure. We also have nice articulation. Nothing, super amazing, super impressive, but it's pretty good for what it is. Pretty decent overall. So another figure for me, at least, that is definitely a must-have, I would say, from this new Mattel Epic Evolution line. So if you are interested in grabbing one, I will include a link in the description to where you can purchase them online on Amazon, but I feel like the last time I had looked, they were a little overpriced, being sold by somebody other than Walmart, so your best bet would probably be to search them out at Walmart. But if you really want to get one right away, you can check that link. Maybe Walmart will actually put them up for sale soon, who knows. One way or another, definitely pick this up, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.